I cannot make any claims for being better than anyone else. I can only talk to you about what I've done and to what degree it could help you. And the thing I believe that makes me different to many other people who advise people on their marketing was well put by Daniel Defoe, who wrote Robinson Crusoe. And in my book, Common Sense Direct Marketing, I quote what he said. And he said, "The mariner to sail with is he who has been shipwrecked, for he knows where the reefs are." Now, the only way you can get shipwrecked is if you set out on a voyage. And the voyage I'm talking about is the voyage that you may well be undertaking right now. You almost certainly are. It is of trying to make money by selling things to people. So very, very early on in my career, in my early 20s, I started trying to build a business. I can't say I'm particularly well qualified to build a business. I'm not. But I realised that in order to understand what I had to do for clients, I had to undergo what they'd undergone or were undergoing or what you're undergoing in the challenge of running a business. So first of all, I went into a partnership with a friend to start a printing business in Manchester, and that never even took off, although the name that I came up with he used and built a successful business. Then when I came down to London, once I got my first creative director's job, which was in 1963, I went into partnership with a young guy who worked in the same agency, trying to build a mail order business. And the first thing I tried to sell was it was little bracelets, identity bracelets with your name on them. Gold identity bracelets were very popular. They still are amongst some people. Ours were gold plated. Whether they were gold plated or not, they didn't bloody well sell. And I think we then tried to sell something else similar, and that didn't work. Which reminds me of the remark made by one of the American presidents, which ended in the words, "Persistence alone is omnipotent." That was Calvin Coolidge. Basically, you've got to keep going. You can't give up. So we persisted, and eventually we came up with something that could have made me an awful lot of money, but didn't. In fact, I've done so many things that could have made me a lot of money, but didn't, that I'm amazed. So if you try things and you fail, don't be surprised and don't assume that you're a loser. You can keep on losing until you win. That's what I did. So the next thing we tried to sell was a thing called a wiglet. A wiglet. This was popular in the 1960s when women had, I've got no hair, as you can see, but in those days there was a bouffant hairstyle was popular. Big puffed up hair. In recent years, the person who has adopted that hairstyle was the late and brilliant and very sad singer Amy Winehouse. Now, the wiglet was something that you stuck underneath your hair to make it stand up. And it had to match your hair for reasons I can't recall. But what I can recall is what happened. I wrote an ad. We did a deal with a hairdresser to supply the wiglets, the little wigs, the mini wigs that fitted in with your own hair. And we ran an ad in the Daily Mail, I think, on a Saturday, which was the day when most people reply to advertisements. My partner Peter's father had an office, and we used that as our office address. And the great thing about starting in business in those days was you could run an advertisement even before you had the products. So we hadn't even bought the products then. So the ad ran on a Saturday. It was a small ad, about 6 inches high and 3 or 4 wide. And on the Monday, because there was no post delivered on a Sunday, we went to Peter's father's office to try and see what had happened. And unfortunately, we just couldn't get in. It was very difficult to get in there. And we discovered, in fact, that the reason it was very difficult to get in was that behind the door of the office was a huge pile of envelopes with money in it, or money in them. So immediately we realised we were about to get absurdly rich. This did not happen, and I'll tell you why. Because the hairdresser's office had a window, and somebody left the window open and placed next to the window all the little tags of hair that people had sent in to be matched for their wiglet. The wind blew, the bits of hair all got mixed up together. We made no money. I can't remember how we got out of the problem, whether we gave people their money back or what. Probably we did. But the hairdresser had noticed how much money could be made. I mean, I seem to recall that we would have made enough money out of that, I think it was £50,000, some incredible amount of money, to retire for 5 years, the pair of us. Remember, the pound then was worth a lot more than it is now. My first house cost me under £700. No, I think my father paid a little bit too much, £725. Not a very small house, but there you are. So the hairdresser decided, whoopee, this is a great thing, I'm going to do this. And he ran an ad which failed miserably because he didn't know how to write advertising. And if there's one thing I can tell you that is worth bearing in mind, it is that there are many, many people who have good products, good ideas, they're very smart, but they don't know how to create an advertisement. I do. And on that occasion, I didn't make my fortune, but I did eventually, because I do know how to write advertisements and indeed anything else. But what's the lesson anyhow? The lesson is, as I said at the beginning, don't give in, because I kept on trying different things. And I kept on failing. I must have failed, I would think I failed 10 times for every one time that I've succeeded. But as somebody wise once said, you only have to succeed once. That means you just got to keep trying till you do succeed. And that's my thought for you today, together with another thought that if you're not sure whether you're doing the right things to succeed, drop me a line. I'll give you frank, honest opinions. Thank you.